What's up, my friends? Here we are again, and we are doing the Monday stream today. And you might ask yourselves, why is this guy doing a Monday stream when there is a game tomorrow? Well, because we have a very good special guest with us. It's a DJ from India. Unfortunately, he's not at the stream just very moment. Maybe he'll be just joining us shortly. Meanwhile, while we wait, please show yourselves and comment in the chat that you are here and you are ready. I hope DJ will be joining me shortly. Tanish from India. Very nice, my friend. Very nice to see you. DJ most probably is on his way to the stream. So, Tanish, since you are the first one to comment, let me know what you feel. How are you feeling? Are you ready for a new week? This is actually the Christmas week. At least here in Norway, when Juventus is always present. That's always nice. Thomas. Hi, Roman. Nice to see you, Thomas. Always a pleasure, my friends. So we are waiting for DJ. He's not the actual DJ, even though, well, maybe he is. We'll see. But this is a guy that I've had for the first time. I had him on my Juventus quiz 2.0, and he impressed me with his vintage skills, basically. He knew the old school Juve and what it was about, and all the hard questions. It was rather easy to him, but unfortunately he didn't make it all the way to the final. So we enjoyed that session, and then we had a couple of more sessions talking about Juve, talking about what we expected from Pirlo, what we expected from the whole team. But it's been a while since I've talked to the guy, and since I'm so fond of his takes, it will be a pleasure to talk to him again. Let's see if he is joining us. We need 3 points against Fiorentina tomorrow. He will be here in 3 minutes, he says. So that's nice. We need 3 points against Fiorentina tomorrow. Yeah, well, we need points against every single team. No doubt about it. But yeah, for sure, we need 3 points tomorrow just to finish off this crappy season. Well, crappy year. Not crappy season. Season is just midway. But this crappy year of 2020 with at least something great. You know, the 3 points would be nice against La Viola. Should Juventus be scared of AC Milan, Ravash? 29. We'll get into that. That's a good question. That is a good question. And I don't think that we are scared of anybody. But for sure, we need to respect them since they are actually relevant now. But then again, let's enjoy ourselves because it's only 13 games. 1/3 of the season played now. So they're still top, but it's not what you win in December that matters. It's what you win in May or June. Yeah. Harsh is there. Nice to see you, man. Well, Juventus, we're not scared of anybody. That's true, Boniparty. That is very true. Well, apart from ourselves, of course. We are scared of ourselves. Scared of what we can do suddenly. I saw rumors today that Valencia are looking for Daniele Rugani. That made me chuckle just a little bit. Boys and girls, listen. Who makes up these rumors? Valencia apparently has been, well, they wanted the guy for 2-3 years, but still he ends up in France, and still he ends up injured. So, calmate. Nothing gonna happen. I think he will be returning to us maybe in January, I don't know. But he will for sure be returning to us in after the season, and then we are screwed because who would want a player who barely played for us last season, barely played for Rennes this season. No way. Freaking Rugani, huh? We're talking about Rugani here, huh? That's how boring the start of this week is. Really excited for the Champions League. Can't wait for you to do well. Neither can we. A bit nervous actually because Porto do not be underestimated. They must not be underestimated. Ronaldo must play on the left and Chiesa on the right, so attack is more at both sides. Then, Tanish, since you are here, we can just entertain that thought. So basically, you want a 4-3-3 then, if I'm not mistaken. And a 4-3-3, which is a logical formation. But it looks like Pirlo is getting traction with this setup of his, whatever that is. As I said previously, you need a freaking PhD to understand what Pirlo is doing and which formation he plays. Yes, it is true he plays 3-4-1-2, but when in possession, when in defense, it's 4-4-2. But it's just so way too fluid. It's more fluid than just simple with or without possession. It's it's much more complicated. Nishili Rugani are definitely coming back, unfortunately. Yes, unfortunately, they are. And you really expected them to stay, huh? We're just postponing the inevitable fact that they're going to be released on a free transfer or something. Parth is there. Long time no see. Yes, indeed, Parth. Indeed. Long time no see. Champions League Copa, that would be so amazing. Yeah, to win the treble, Harsh. That would be amazing. That would be amazing. I'm just dreaming away with thoughts to winning a treble. I'm in heaven. Well, yeah, we just touched on it, Aditya. Valencia again interested in Rugani. LOL. That's enough. That's what I'm going to say about that matter. Are Juventus looking for any player in January transfer market? We'll touch on that, Quasi. Lovely name, by the way. Welcome to the chat. And stream, my friend DJ is on his way. We need a CAM with a good engine. We can touch on that. I love your comments, my friends. Just keep them coming. So we have something to talk about. We have a list of things we're going to talk about with DJ. But yeah, Memphis Depay, yeah. Memphis Depay, the rumors are just been thrown at us. I'm just waiting for a comment regarding Papa Gomez. Please, entertain me. Papa Gomez to Juve, please. Pogba. Oh, shit. No way. I'm going to say no to that. Why? I don't think he's good enough. I don't think he will contribute that much to us. He will not improve us that much. West McKennie is balling, so what are you going to do with West McKennie? You're going to replace him? And yeah, you might think, okay, West McKennie can play, and then you have Bentancur, Arthur, and then you have probably Rabiot on the left. So instead of Rabiot, you put Pogba. I don't think he'd like that. I think he needs to be more going forward. Yeah, and that's basically McKennie's job. We need a striker with muscle who plays the ball. Yeah. All right, my friends. I see my good friend DJ just joined in. Let me put him in the stream. Are you ready, guys? 3, 2, 1, go. How are you doing, my friend?
Ciao, Roman. What a pleasure to be back on here again. I'm doing great. Forza Juve, how are you doing?
I'm doing. You know what? I'm kind of okay because it's so nice going into this Christmas break soon, knowing that there is actually no football. You can actually enjoy the Christmas break and not worry about football. You can just look
Right.
after the Viola game. You can, when you watch the Viola game, then you can close down and you can enjoy, rest, relax, and then go back in January with crazy nerves and like we usually do. But yeah, how you been doing?
Not too bad, not too bad. The mood just keeps getting better with seeing the team's performances. We're growing every week. So
Yes,
yeah, for
that's
sure,
true. That's true.
getting better and better, and no better time than getting to Christmas, hitting some kind of form.
That's true. To answer your question, Harsh, yes, DJ is from India. So yes, this is my Indian expert, or as I like to call him, Indian Pirlo, because he very much looks like him. But I see
Grazie.
some, yeah, prego. But I see something changed with you, DJ. Behind you, I see you have a poster.
That's
What
right.
is that?
Well, so it's the still poster that is the sign language chart. It's a sign language chart where you have the one hand alphabet. So it is every letter, literally. To give you an example, A, B. Um, of course, we've also got the very famous Y sign that you've probably noticed across football culture. So yeah, uh,
Yeah.
it's the shark actually in popular culture, but it also
Hmm.
stands for a Y in hand language. So yeah, it's just a
Interesting.
little chart. Yeah.
But do you know the this language?
No,
Can you speak it?
absolutely not. It's actually
No.
just sign language, which is
Okay. Oh.
meant for the deaf and the
Yes.
mute. So
Yeah.
yeah, so it's I don't know it personally, but it was interesting in terms of typo, and also there was quite a bit of language learning. So I
Yeah.
just ended up picking it up. Yeah,
I'm so impressed with guys who can articulate in that with that language. It's
absolutely, absolutely,
yeah, that's very very
absolutely.
impressive.
Yeah,
Yes, but back to Juve, my friend. So last time me and you had a chat. I don't remember actually when that was, but it was just at the start of the Pirlo era, basically.
correct.
So yeah, we started with a 3-0 win against Sampdoria. We had some fun, and then the reality kicked us in the ass, and we faced Roma. Luckily, we drew. So yeah, DJ, what is the status now, in your opinion? What do you think has, um, well, where are we basically with Pirlo? Because we've seen changes, we've seen some setbacks, we've seen progress, but as soon as we see progress, we also see some setbacks. But then we see another progress. Most notably, the Barcelona, yeah, monumental result 3-0 away. Yeah, so talk me through it. Talk me through your thoughts.
So Roman, if you remember when we last spoke, it was we all were accepting of the fact that this is likely going to be that transition year, which should have happened a little earlier in our cycle. Um, Quite a few moving parts, and of course, Pirlo is learning on the job. We have to give him credit for the fact that he's not really had much of a preseason. We've got a lot of youngsters to, throw into the deep end, get them going and integrate them with not only the club DNA, but also in a very result-oriented environment. And I think to that end, really all of Pirlo's experiments have had to be real time, in the middle of matches. And of course, our schedule and itinerary was jam-packed from the start. You're playing the likes of Roma and Napoli, in your first couple of weeks. So I think given that was there was a lot of it was a very steep learning curve, and I think that so far from what I'm seeing, of course he's made some mistakes, and I think we can forgive him for that really because he himself has been thrown into the deep end. But knowing Pirlo, he's a champion. He's done it all on the pitch. I think that sense of calm really also transmits to the players. What I've noticed though is I think he needs to crack down on the disciplinary side, because I do see a little bit of a lax attitude from key players. The likes of Dybala, like I wasn't happy with what I saw against Lazio. Of course, he's got his head, in terms of where it is in the contract talks. And I think stuff like that is really what shouldn't be coming to the fore. But there's a lot of positive from what I see. I see an integrated squad in terms of the way the youngsters are, combining with the old guard. Also, very importantly, with regard to Pirlo, I feel that he's learning very quickly, tactically speaking, because he's always had this hybrid in mind in terms of what he wants to do with the formation. From the get-go, I felt from the Sampdoria game that we have a little bit more of a European look to us, in the way that we're playing football. But it's a high-intensity, high-press game. There are two things that, I'm getting a little comfortable with in terms of Pirlo's management. One is, I think he's been able to transmit his ideas because the squad does seem to learn to understand what he's trying to get across. And for me, the two reasons why I feel this way is because I've noticed that we're beginning to press more and more with each passing game, and we're able to press longer, which obviously means by the time we get to the business end of the season, the team might just be in a position to press an entire 90 minutes. Though the second more important bit is that he's not been so stubborn about being fixed on his two-man mid. He's playing a bit of a hybrid. He's understanding that, the 4-4-2 works as well. And I think importantly, what I saw in the last game, which really is very impressive, is that he played McKennie and Ramsey together. So he's got two mobile midfielders, which is freeing up Ronaldo to play a freer role up front. And the mobility is very clear with Bentancur, playing just in front of defense. There's a little bit of a balance, which obviously shows that, Pirlo's always thinking. He's not just resting on his laurels. I did feel that, Atlanta was a game we should have won. We started off on the front foot and, tapered off a little bit. Of course, it's as much on the players as it is on the coach. I think he could have been a little bit more proactive with his substitutions in that game. But, all in all, season in review thus far, I think it's been, 12 games now, or 11?
13.
And we 13. We won 6, if I'm not mistaken. Or have we won 7?
We won 7,
And
drew 6, and we are unbeaten.
Yeah, so I would say, Roman, that it's par for the course so far. I would reserve my judgment up until February. I want to see what happens when the Champions League returns. As things go, though, I do feel like where we are, we're showing a little bit of swagger, and I like that. There is we're not showing any sort of fear, and that really comes with the coach with no emotional baggage, and I want to see how that translates in Europe. So I'm so far I passed the course, but it's looking more up than down.
Yeah, and that is most of all. We have to remember that this is the first season for Andrea Pirlo, and
Right.
we are, and when I say we, I say Juve fans, because for the past 9 years, you've been winning 100%. We've been winning every single season. So this mentality of winning now has maybe kind of locked in on us. We are used to winning almost. So when we see us struggle, when we see us dropping unnecessary points against Benevento, Crotone, Verona at home, all those 6 draws are, of course, avoidable. But you need to remember that Pirlo is new at his job, and we've had crazy turnover in regards to the midfield, which is and still is maybe the weakest link we have, even though we see some progress now with Weston rocking there, and We have also Ramsey when he's fit, and then unfortunately it's very rare, but he is there. But yeah, I agree with you, DJ. It's we need to be careful. We need to relax with Andrea Pirlo, and also the fact that those 6 draws, maybe apart from the Roma game, I see them more as we could easily win them. But you see, and if you look at a draw, if you look at a game for 90 minutes, which ends up to be a draw, you kind of reflect back and you kind of think that, we are lucky to draw this game. But I can only think of that Roma game. We are lucky to draw that game. All others 5 games that we drew, we should win this. We could have won this. But individual mistakes, and both from Pirlo and coaches, of course, and the players, of course, plays a part. But if we go down to micro level and talk about the players, individuals who actually are entitled, to be wearing that jersey. What do you think? Who do you think? The easiest question would be is, who do you think has been the most surprising player this season so far?
Roman, I feel like it's such a young squad. It would be unfair to say that, any youngster coming in, you're not really looking for them to surprise you. You're just looking for them to, hit the ground running and hoping for the best. With regard to, if I could just rephrase, my answer to your question and just say, talk about the guys who've impressed me. I would probably say that, Cuadrado for me has been probably the most vital cog on the team this season. For me personally, I think Weston is just, at the moment, he's my favorite player on the team. I just love the energy. He's just, he's really reminding me of vintage Davids. I know it's a very unfair comparison. But in that vein, I just love his energy on the pitch, and I just love the fact that he's full of running. He uses his head. He's very nimble with the passing. It's all very impressive for such a young player. Also, somebody who's not from the culture. And I don't just mean the culture when I talk of Juve's Grinta-based culture. Somebody who's not even from Europe. To adapt to such an elite team, playing with champions like Ronaldo, I do feel like he's doing really, really well. Chiesa for me, I felt like for no fault of Chiesa's, but obviously at first I do feel like we're spending a bit too much money on him. Though I do quite appreciate all the running. He needs to really start thinking a little bit more, and I think he's lacking a little bit of application. So he's somebody who, I do feel has potential for growth. Of course, he's here to stay. He's a young guy, so we've got to give him a little bit of time. But I do expect more from Chiesa. Kulu again, he's somebody who's becoming a bit of an impact player. I think he lost a little bit of belief in the middle. Pirlo kind of started using him from the bench a little bit more often, but he's pretty impactful. He brings it's not just the goals. I think he brings a fair amount of running off the bench, and I think it's important, having a player like that off the bench. Bernardeschi, unfortunately for me, he's a guy I had big hopes on. I am a tad bit disappointed, but I do feel that with him, the thing that always, I can't really hold against him is the fact that he always tries, and I respect that in a player. For me, again, personally, the most disappointing player, of course, is Dybala. I do expect more from him, I'm sure, as he does from himself. I think that the contract talk is now dragging a bit, more than it should. Also, I don't expect him to be the kind of player to hold out for money, given how much he loves the club. So I do hope that, they can find middle ground and close this chapter. would expect be happy for him to continue, but I think his temperament at the moment is suspect, and he needs to double up on that, on his act, and get it together. For me personally, what happened against Lazio was inexcusable. Especially coming from a player like Dybala, it was lazy. There was no application for such a now well integrated member of the squad. You really do expect better. And
what
so
are you referring to in specifically? What happened?
the 93rd minute is in when he lost the ball on the touchline.
Okay, yeah.
I just felt like there was no effort, and I do think that a player like him, I'd expect to see a lot more effort. It's not just more effort, a lot more effort. He is someone that we're counting on. He's potentially, being groomed for a captaincy going forward if he does stick around. So, we expect that from him.
A lot of good names, DJ, for sure. We have, as you said, we have Kulusevski, we have Chiesa, all new players, young players.
Right.
And we mustn't forget that Matthijs de Ligt almost looks like a new signing for us. After his shoulder surgery, he comes back and straight from the get-go, basically, dominates.
Absolutely.
And is the best defender in the world, in my opinion, as of right now, basically, because I struggle to find anyone better.
I tend to agree with you, Rom. Yeah, absolutely.
And also the thing is with Chiesa, this is very interesting because I kind of feel that Chiesa is being limited when he's playing on the left side. Because when he's playing on the left, he cannot cross. He cannot be that vital, as dangerous as he might have been from the right, because he played on the right for Fiorentina. He plays from the right for the national team. You rarely see him on the left, besides from Juve. Right at Juve, we have Cuadrado on the right, who you mentioned, and also Chiesa on the left, which is probably might be some tactical choice from Pirlo because he doesn't want both wingers to be as attacking. So somebody needs to compensate the other one. But it is interesting. But and also yes, Kulusevski, we have to touch on him because I have been very harsh on this guy because I've waited to see some greatness in every single Champions League game. He has struggled. He was lost, basically. He didn't wake up the game. And now, well, ironically so, he played a good game against Parma, against his old club. Scored, of course. But still work in progress since he is a young kid still. And I have to also mention Danilo in all this, because I feel that last season Danilo was very insecure, very unstable as a right wing back or whatever Sarri used him as. But now Pirlo that's actually the first thing Pirlo did in his when he was appointed. There were rumors coming out how he was going to play, and we were seeing that Danilo was playing on the left side of those three guys, and we were like, how? Why? This looks very weird. But he proved us wrong, and I'll say he is so consistent. I've rarely seen him drop a bad performance so far for us. But it is early days. We're only halfway. 1/3 of the season played.
1/3,
yeah, it is. All right, let's go to the comment section and let's see what's cooking here. Yes, there was a question early on. DJ, and that is more of, for Serie A in general. I will highlight this one. Should Juve be scared of AC Milan? The answer to that question was further down. It was basically, we're not scared of anybody. But if we can change the question just a little bit, we can ask you: do you feel that AC Milan is back to being relevant in terms of superpower, because they are leading the table. They are unbeaten. They play good football. They win tough games. But it's of course early days. It's still only, as we said, 1/3 of the season done. But this is just a question from a fan. Do you think we should be aware of AC Milan, or are they going to drop eventually?
Yeah, hi Rabaz. I'm not sure a nine-time consecutive champion is going to be scared of anybody. Milan is of course they're a traditionally big club, so it would be great if they find some kind of relevance again. At the moment, they're setting the pace, but it's like Roman has correctly pointed out, we're 1/3 through the season. There's a lot of variables still to come, including how they hold up with depth. Remember, it's a 5-sub rule. Teams that go really deep have the most advantage. Europe not. So Juve is a deep squad as well, and it's really going to come down to how a team paces itself and how they keep growing in the very crucial months of March and April. Starting off in Feb, and we're going to get to see that very early, towards the end of Jan. We'll really get an idea of where the table really stands, and then we'll see which teams are really consolidating their position. At the moment, though, I wouldn't say with a 4-point lead, anyone should be really scared or looking out. Though credit to both Milan and Inter for maintaining the pace that they're maintaining. But still early days, so let's see how things progress.
Yeah, I agree. There is something surprising about this team, though, is because when I saw Stefano Pioli, this is the guy who is their coach, and he has been average before in his career, and then now suddenly things are clicking for them. So this is also kind of a surprising thing to me, but we will see. So far, they are doing great. They are, Milan and Juve are the only unbeaten teams in Serie A. So, yeah, it is. We are there now, but we'll see what happens as you say, in March, where it really goes down to the wire. And then we have a lot of comments about the potential. And this is a very open question to you, DJ. What do you think, and what do you think is going to happen? But a potential return of Mr. Paul Lamine Pogba. Labile. I'm sorry. Paul Labile Pogba. Yes, Lamine. Lemina. I was thinking of Mario Lemina there. That's completely different.
Yeah, I was wondering. Yeah.
Paul Pogba. He is rumored to have troubles in Manchester. There are also rumors that he is in constant contact with with Juventus. Do you see him coming back?
Roman, I've loved Pogba when he was with us. I think he was a fabulous player. In many ways, he was still being grounded in terms of temperament. He was a bit of a baby on the team. Let's not forget he was surrounded by the likes of the man himself, Andrea Pirlo. He had Vidal. He had Marquisio around him. It's clear that when you take away that support system and you try and peg everything on a Pogba kind of player, there is a little bit of pressure. Also, I feel like it's a very unhealthy obsession with this talk of his return. He's a guy who's going through some kind of transition in a probably not the healthiest club environment at the moment. And we just need to give it a little bit of space. I'm always wary of a player that's coming through, Raiola, because, of course, he's looking out for his clients. But Pogba, for me, right now, is not the optimal fit at Juve. So if I was to choose, I would probably give this a pass. I think there's too many variables. I think the economics of the deal, given where we are right now, with the likes of Ronaldo on up, I'm not so sure that they're already struggling with Dybala's contract. I'm not so sure that they can afford a player like Pogba. So I really don't give much credence to talk of return because I personally don't see it happen. Yes, we do like him. He's a player that the management, I'm sure, would keep an eye on. But I'm not so sure that really he's the fit for this team. I know Pirlo probably has an equation with him, and that will also be attractive to Pogba when making a decision. But to me, we probably need like a player like SMS, um, and uh, to me would be like a vital cog on in this midfield. Um, more
Do you think
so
we actually
than
need reinforcements in the midfield?
Roman, I feel a player like Ramsey is really, really important to what Pirlo is trying to achieve in the way he sees his football, his vision of the game. Unfortunately, Ramsey for me is too inconsistent a player, largely down to the fact that it's really hard for him to stay fit through the entirety of the season. He's got a very important role to play, and therefore, I feel that we do need one creative player in the middle. Awar is someone that we have, consistently spoken about. He's not having a very visible season at the moment. However, he is a player that we should keep an eye on, and I probably think that a signing like that makes better business sense for the club than a Pogba.
Yeah, and to be fair, we have a work in progress right now. We see that we have good win against Torino. We have a good win against Genoa. We have good win against Barcelona. Now we thrashed Parma 4-0. So there is something working. There's still something brewing there in the middle.
Correct.
So I don't see a reason to disrupt whatever it is Pirlo is cooking in the middle. Once it fails, then we can look at alternatives. But right now,
Right.
I see that we have depth. I see that we have Rabiot in there, who can also slot in there, even though he is as always an inconsistent. I'm yet to see Arthur up to his best, mostly because he has been either injured or basically trying to adapt to Serie A. But as we said right at the beginning, Weston McKennie just took it by he doesn't even care. He's in Serie A. He is playing in a tactical league. He doesn't care. But what he cares about is his own improvement, and we see that because he started impressing us, and then he was kind of sluggish and slowed down a little bit. But we see also the effect of his work off the pitch in terms of understanding, in terms of runs in the box, because we didn't see that early on in the season. It only started recently.
Correct.
That's also kudos to all credit goes to Pirlo on that one for sure. Most certainly there was some discussions there, and of course, if Aaron Ramsey is constantly fit, we wouldn't see probably McKennie make those runs, because then it will be less playing time for him. But as you mentioned, also they played both together against Parma. It worked, but it was a rather poor Parma side that evening. So yeah, we'll see what happens tomorrow, though. There is a question,
sure.
and there is a question here that somebody asked me yesterday, I think, or the day before, that I need to re-ask you. So, why does Juve have the lack of homegrown talents? I'm not so sure what the problem is there. I think that we have very few of them right now. Since we have Frabotta and we have Portanova, and we have this youngster Radu Dragozin, which is commemorable. Which out of nowhere they are showing up, but neither of them, I would say, is Juve quality as per this very moment. That's probably what he means by this question. So why don't we have our own talent coming through and actually impressing for the club? Are they just not good enough, or is it something else?
To be honest, Roman, I feel like this is more an Italian problem than it is, entirely Juve's problem. I think Italian football largely is so focused on, being result oriented. No matter how good your youngsters are, there is a certain weight, that you have in your senior squad, and for some reason that transition probably doesn't happen is because the club doesn't, it's such a heavy result-oriented environment. You probably don't trust your youngsters enough. It's not to say that we don't have homegrown talents, because you really don't know, who's coming through the system, till you really give them a chance. We've seen what happened with Marquisio. The only reason he got a chance is because of Calciopoli, and we see how he turned out as a player. It's really about opportunity, and I feel that is what is lacking, and that's across the board. It's not just Juve. Milan at the height of their powers, or Inter at the height of theirs, they're not going to give their youngsters a chance, because what's important is they have to get home the 3 points, and they have to try and win a title. For that, they always will go with experience over youth. It's only the clubs where they know they don't really have a shot at the title, or they don't have important objectives to the season. They have no option, because they don't have the balance sheet to pay champions, and they have to blood the youngsters. Yeah, look at the likes of Sassuolo. Look at what Atlanta are doing. It's fabulous, and I'm hoping now with even Juve, with the likes of Pirlo, managing the team, they give a little bit of time to the youngsters, and I think you can see that. Portanova, if I'm not mistaken, got a few minutes against Parma the other night, and Dragosin's been promoted to the senior squad. He's obviously not going to get the kind of minutes that one would like him to get, but yeah, Pirlo's idea probably is just to help him experience, what it feels like being in the first team, and the pressure of the dressing room, and it's a great way to orient someone, with the senior squad. So yeah, it is an Italian problem, and I'm hoping that with a little bit of success for this young team under Mancini, the Nacional, things might change, and there may be a shift in perspective.
You could even go even further. You can actually say that's the problem of football, when you become big enough of a club, big enough of a
Correct.
team, that you are in a win now mode every single round.
Correct.
You can't afford to give chance to Frabotta play. Okay, fine, you can play Frabotta on the left side against Genoa at home, but when it goes down to the wire against Merda, against Milan, whoever, then you kind of go with Alexandro or Chiesa or whatever, just to be safe, because their quality is there. And that's also we can see across the board. And there is also a good comment from the same man, Ronaldo. Immobile is a good example. He was with us. He was a youngster. He barely played, and then he was at Pescara. Then he went to Dortmund, Torino, and now he's balling, absolutely destroying everything for Lazio, which is kind of typical of an Italian striker. You go wander around, and then you just find your place, and then you stay there. He wasn't that great at Dortmund. Then he came back and finds out that, Serie A is clearly his thing. So yeah, I agree completely. There we go. Let's see. Now we have some other questions there. A bit more in terms of the transfer window coming up. First of all, do you think we're going to sign somebody?
Honestly, Roman, I feel like there is some kind of contact, with the need for a signing, but it really comes down to two key things. In January, I think it would require a serious injury for us to go out and sign someone, or maybe the breakdown of Dybala's transfer talks, for example, and we may look at another signing. There is a very loose talk of Milik at the moment. I'm not so sure I buy into it just yet, but yeah, never say never. I don't see us go, big unless there's a serious injury or a emergency requirement.
Yeah, there is actually the question about from Rahul. Do you see Milik as an option? Yeah, you answered to that. But do you think, to the first question there is also a good question. Do you think we should sign a striker? Do you think we need one?
It really comes down, Roman. At the moment, by the looks of how well Morata and Ronaldo are combining, I'm seeing Dybala as the one struggling to integrate, which obviously means that somewhere at the back of Pirlo's mind, he probably wants a backup to Morata. There was initially talk in the summer that it will be more than one CF coming through, where it would be maybe Morata or Suarez, and it'll be backed up by a Moise Kean. So you can't say, but at the moment, I don't personally, I think, see the need. I would like Dybala to be integrated in some way or the other. For that, Dybala is also going to have to make more of an effort. However, if things don't pan out, then I think the profile of the incoming player will be different than that of Dybala. So yes, in that case, Milik might be someone that the club would consider.
There was also a bit talk of Olivier Giroud coming on from Chelsea. Also talk about Memphis Depay from Lyon, even though I don't think that's going to happen, just because they are struggling with finances.
Right.
5 million euros. That was the rumored fee, which is crazy, but it is what it is with the French football right now. And also, we know that Papu Gomez has some interesting stuff going on with his Atalanta club. Looks like there will be, a divorce. He will leave in January. We don't know why. But suddenly something happened between him and Gasperini, their coach.
Gasperini, yeah.
Question is though, where would he go? And to answer that myself, we have to. There was a comment on Twitter earlier this week or last week, which is actually was spot on about this. Is we don't need to sign every single player. We can acknowledge the player's quality. But we can also say that the player won't fit us. He doesn't fit the team. He will be on wages, and he is 32, 33. And we'll be stuck with the same problem as we did with, for example, Matuidi, Khedira, if he will be signed. So it doesn't say that we don't respect the guy, because we do.
Sure.
We know he is a beautiful, great player. I love him a lot. He's such entertainment to watch, but I just don't think that he would fit well into Juve. And of course, we don't know why this row happened with Gasperini. If there are some troubles off in locker room, would he disrupt the locker room as well for us? We don't know. So we might to consider that. But what do you think of Papu Gomez? And for sure, you might agree there, DJ. He is entertainer.
Absolutely fabulous player, but Roman, normally I feel like players that come out of a team that is more a team based on ideology and tactics, they don't really necessarily work outside of that system. In terms of transitioning to the amount of time that he spent at Atlanta and transitioning to a club like Juve, I feel like Gomez would struggle a little bit. For me, personally, I think he'd be a great value addition to a club like Inter or Milan at the moment. They are playing, they don't necessarily have the biggest dressing rooms in the sense of ego. They have coaches who play, to a certain ideology, and I think that they would be the right coaches to, optimize a player like Gomez. And also at the moment, they're not as result oriented in the sense that the Scudetto is a realistic objective, which means it's easier to integrate a player coming in from a smaller team into a setup like Inter's or Milan's. So so I feel like he would fit. 32, 33 is obviously is going to be a stopgap solution. But to me, optimal fit more than Inter, more so with Milan.
You mentioned briefly Morata and Cristiano Ronaldo partnership. How surprised are you that Alvaro Morata is that vital for us?
Roman, it's hard to doubt the quality of a player like Morata, but he hasn't really set the world on fire after leaving Juve the last time. But the thing about Morata is he's a player that he's a very confident player. He's got the
Yeah.
running, he's got intelligence off the ball. His movement between the lines is great. He helps, especially if you're playing a pressing game, he helps you maintain a higher line. He runs quite a few yards with the ball, so he's more a modern day, center forward, not really essentially a fox in the box. But he's doing a fabulous job, and I think he's thoroughly enjoying his role alongside Ronaldo. It may just well be, the little Madrid connection that they share for the time that he overlapped, and also I think he's really enjoying Pirlo's tactics. There's a lot of comfort in the fact that he's played with Pirlo, and that's given him a little bit of a push and confidence. And I'm really happy to see him rediscover whatever he had with us, really in terms of optimal form.
He discovered something else, which is the offside position, which is
Yeah.
which is
Right.
quite funny.
Right.
And I don't know if you saw the Christmas teaser or something. Morata was basically making fun of himself being in an offside position.
Right. Right.
So that's fun. That's very fun that he doesn't take that seriously, because I was worried a little bit when he arrived. The issue with him were the mental stuff, the mentality. He was not strong enough
Absolutely.
mentally when things go
Absolutely.
against him. And
Right.
of course, when you get those calls against you 2-3 games in a row, you kind of start to doubt yourself. But how
Correct.
he managed to turn it around, and how he managed, well, that Christmas teaser was actually quite important in that matter, because then I see that actually Alvaro Morata can have fun off based on his own mistakes, and it's not that big of a deal. It's a team effort. So I like that. I like that about Morata. Yes, and that's funny. Alvar or Morata. Yes, Alvar Morata. That's true. That's funny. Yeah, but yes, and we have to just briefly mention, not taking anything away from him, Cristiano and his role in all this, because we've seen our side struggle without him in the team when he was under COVID lockdown, and he came back, and it almost looked like the team kind of flipped a switch in terms of the mentality. Something just clicked. And of course, he is vital for us. He scored 48% of all goals for Juve so far this season in Serie A, which is best ratio in Serie A, which is quite remarkable. Just ahead of Lukaku. But is there something different with Cristiano this season, as a contrary to the last season, DJ?
Well, I think, Roman, it's just also the mental makeup of the squad. Largely it's just a more robust, mobile squad. Mobile team around him. We're just more mobile in the sense that we've got younger players. There's a lot more enthusiasm. Obviously, they're obviously putting him on a bigger pedestal than they did last year, because you had more mature, experienced players playing alongside. This year, it's really, he's just surrounded by youngsters who look up at him in awe. And credit to Ronaldo. He's just, the thing about him is his discipline and his consistency is what make him the exceptional player that he is. I do, obviously there is a certain dependency also coming from a point where it's almost like the team has gotten used to always looking for him in and around the box. It's not him really calling for the ball as much as as the team just looking for him now. It's become like like somewhat of you know, um, what could you say, habit. And the younger players, they're more impressionable, and I think he's all on the pitch, kind of, just commands the fact that the ball should get to him. Is it the best strategy? Not always, of course, but him being who he is, the ambitious, disciplined, powerful player that he is, he does bring the result home, and credit to that. I do feel though that Juve, if the score remains, they will hold themselves in good stead and become a more robust team once Ronaldo is done with his time at Juve. However, while he's here, I think it's only right that we enjoy what he brings to the team. Sometimes I feel like we lack balance because we're always looking for him, and if he begins to have a little dip in form, then you can see that the team is struggling as well because they don't seem to have a plan B. When he doesn't seem to be working on the pitch. However, this happens with all great players. I'm sure that you're always looking for them because you need a moment of magic, and there's nobody better, than the champion player on your pitch.
He had the rough patch of team games recently. He scored.
Correct.
He scored two penalties last week in two games, and it was kind of, besides from those penalties, I didn't think that Cristiano did that well on the pitch. But against Parma, however, it looked very much alive. He scored also two. One was a great header. I said this during my live session, that to us, it looks like something unreal. It's like the eighth wonder of the world when Cristiano leaps up in the air. But for him, this is so ordinary. It looks so easy. So, and of course, not taking anything away from Alvaro Morata's cross, which was a beauty. And of course, the second goal, which he scored, a combination with Bentancur, Ramsey, and Morata, and top it off with his left. So the guy this guy has quality, no doubt about it. But also the leadership, and this is what I want to touch a little bit on, because in recent days, especially after the Parma game, we were talking about entertaining the thought of Buffon rather than Wojciech Szczesny in goal, based on the leadership and at the back, because we heard it when we played away to Barcelona. We heard. I'm sitting in Norway, and I heard Gigi Buffon speak on the Camp Nou when he was shouting out instructions. He was loud and vocal during that game, and the same thing happened against Parma. We hear Gigi telling Bonucci to stay put, to instruct De Ligt doing something, Danilo doing this, and then he high fives everybody. There is so much leadership in that guy. And then we look at Wojciech Szczesny, who is a bit of a more quieter type of goalkeeper, but this is also his weakness because he doesn't tend to command his own box that well as Gigi does. So the recent days, there have been discussions: should we actually go with Gigi Buffon as our starter rather than Wojciech Szczesny? In terms of leadership, of course, because then you see our defense is more comfortable when Gigi is playing. What are your thoughts on this?
100% agree with you, Roman. I think that Gigi is often considered to be the old man to the old lady. He's turning 43 this year. However, it's what happens on the pitch that should count. And I think every time that Buffon has been on the pitch, even before the Barca game, I just do believe that it's not only his comfort with Juve, with the backline. It's almost like the club is now second skin. I think also it's a matter of communication. So Gigi is a leader inherently, also, but the fact that he's Italian, and when he shouts instructions, it's heard all across the pitch. Szczesny probably is not as imposing, for maybe something as simple as the reason of language. He may not be as comfortable shouting these instructions. It's entirely possible. Also, I think Gigi just, the amount of experience he's had at this level makes a big difference. I think Szczesny is just, his first day in, he was under Gigi's shadow. The year after, the couple of years after. He's not really, I don't believe he's set the world on fire, and he's been a consistent keeper. I've not been most impressed with him this season. Well, I wouldn't say he's error prone, but I don't feel like he's comfortable with the ball at feet. And
No.
that is so important when you play a pressing game and you have a high line. You have to be able to distribute as a keeper. Yeah, if there's a live play and there's a back pass, and I've always seen him struggle. I think the goal that we let against Atlanta is something that could have been avoided. Do feel it was poor judgment. Um, there was a little bit of dip, but I think Szczesny should have knocked that out. There have been a couple more instances like that this season. I haven't seen that from Gigi at all. And what impresses me really is, and I think what's important is that when it comes to the crux, there are two things that count. Irrespective of age, you've got to be consistent, you've got to be disciplined, and most importantly, you've got to have that grit and leadership quality, which clearly is inherent in Gigi and somewhat, is lacking, sadly, in Szczesny.
Do you feel that something has changed since last season? I keep comparing this to last season, but it is even we know with Cristiano, it was consistent. He was scoring goals last season, and he will score goals this season. But with Gigi Buffon, it's something different because I feel that I hear Gigi more this season than I did last season. For some reason, I have I have maybe an idea as to why, because the zonal marking that was Sarri's thing basically at the defense last season kind of played a part with all this. I don't think it's only defense that got confused with the zonal marking, but also the actual goalkeepers, which can be confusing enough. So and this is why I think that good Gigi Buffon was so also insecure in that matter. But now it looks like we scrapped this. We are playing with man marking, natural defending, and it all looks so much more relaxed. I don't know if you agree.
I would tend to agree with that moment, but I also think there's a human element here. I think Pirlo has a role to play in having revived, this sense of, Gigi being a leader on the pitch at Juve. A lot of it is down to the fact that, I sensed Gigi's body language last year. I don't know how correct it would be for me to say this, but I did notice that, at times Gigi was a lot more quiet on the sidelines than I've seen him this season. It may just be down to the fact that he was probably marginalized under Sarri, and Sarri probably made it clear to him that he really has a role in the dressing room more than anywhere else. Let's not forget Pirlo and Gigi go way back. It's not just Juventus. It's the World Cup they won with the Nacional. There is an immense amount of trust between these two figures, and I think that makes all the difference, because if you have your coach coming and telling you you're starting, and it's not even a discussion, it's you learn to back yourself, and someone with Gigi with that vast experience, it just becomes that much easier. So I do feel like it's a combination of what you were saying about the zonal marking now translating to the man marking, but I think the human element also has had a role to play in this.
If we go a bit further with the leadership and to talk about the captain himself, who is nowhere to be found. He is at J Medical every single day, basically, which is kind of frustrating, but I feel like the time has caught up with Giorgio Chiellini, unfortunately, and the injuries are just piling up. Do you see that this will be his last season, or do you know maybe he can stretch it for one more?
Honestly, Roman, the time he had the ACL, I think everybody kind of figured that this is now, it's a matter of just, when and not if. I think what is happening this season, I think Chiellini started this season really strong, and there was a lot of comfort with him being back there, marshalling, the D. But going forward, I think with this recurrence, I think Chiellini himself probably, is probably feeling it in his body. I think it's going to be really, really hard to see him do another season with us. Very sad to say it, because he's one of my favorite players. If he does, it's going to be a largely marginalized role, the kind of role that Buffon had last year.
Yeah.
He's just really going to be there to marshal the troops in the dressing room and, just to help with the chat. So there's one more figurehead in the dressing room alongside the likes of, Buffon, Ronaldo. And maybe we could say, the young leaders like Delit, to kind of blood them in to kind of, become rightful leaders.
Yeah, and this is probably why Radu Draguzin is being pushed up as a fifth choice,
Sure.
because we
Yeah.
see that basically those two are switching places in terms
Right.
of what are their level basically in the team. My friends, please come with questions to DJ and myself. We're gonna be here for half hour more, talk Juve or whatever, because well, at the end of the day, tomorrow is the last game for Juve. It is against Fiorentina, which is a side we go way back with. The rivalry, the hate, maybe much more hate from them than it is from us, for
Of
obvious
course.
reasons. But it is what it is, and they are struggling. I must say they are struggling way back. Let me just check. They are way down on the 16th place, which is surprising if we look at their team player by player. But it's all about the understanding between the players and the dressing room and all that stuff. But we are facing them tomorrow, and if I can share my screen to you, I've tried something new now, DJ. So please, let's
Go for it.
see. There we go. So this is the projected lineup, courtesy of Superfly, the great account from on Twitter and Instagram. This is that's what they think they're going to play, and this is actually from Sky by the looks of graphics. What do you think of this lineup? This is the last game of the 2020, and I see that Cuadrado is on the right, Chiesa on the left. We're basically, by the looks of it, we are fielding a full strength team. Not much rotation there. Do you agree with this?
Absolutely, Roman. I feel like in the last month, I've kind of noticed that the squad is beginning to have it's looking more and more defined and structured, and I think that's serving us well. There is some mix and match that's still happening in midfield for Pirlo. Of course, he's also playing to the gallery in terms of who the opponents are. So clearly, it's not a set formula. Of course, he does enjoy playing his hybrid, defensive line. I think in terms of personnel, this is the right mix. Chiesa is probably being played more for, alongside the fact that he's got a history with Fiorentina. He probably understands, what areas to kind of fill and populate. He may be, a crucial player tomorrow evening. Rabiot and Benton, they're probably, I think Rabiot will probably have a freer role and Benton will probably sit back the way he did against Parma and, play more defensive, while McKennie, to me, is, again, a vital cog because he's always the extra man in transition, whether it's in attack or defense. He's the guy who kind of creates a lot of space and movement for the likes of Ronaldo and Morata. So it looks very robust to me. I do think we will probably look at a couple of subs a little later in the game, depending on how it pans out. Most likely, the introduction of Kulusevski, maybe later if we require to run at them. Other than that, though, I no complaints. I think it's full strength and as it should be.
Yeah, I do agree as well. I feel perhaps that Cuadrado needs to have a rest very soon, even though he rested last time against Parma.
Right.
But I just feel that he has been playing a lot lately as well as Cristiano. But then since Dybala is probably will be in the squad, but he will not be starting. That is 100% for sure. So basically,
Right.
this is what I'm saying. Maybe there is a talk of a new striker in January because of this. If two players are struggling or maybe one of them is injured, we need alternatives. So this one is, well, it's very hard to disagree with this team. And I feel this is also quite of a thing with Pirlo now, is we are starting winning games, which means that now he can actually he figures out what his best 11 is.
Correct.
Which could very well be this one. Rabiot maybe for somebody else, I don't know, but we see that McKennie's there all the time. We see that Cuadrado is there. We see Morata and Cristiano. We see all that continuity, which is lovely, which is great to see. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. What's your prediction, DJ? Give me a crazy one. Give me 5-0 or something.
I think it might be a more cautious game. I think Prandelli is a coach that understands Juve. I do think it will be a 2-love sort. Probably a 2-1 at best. At worst, probably. I beg your pardon. In favor of Juve. So yeah. Yeah, and it's important, that we bring home the points, because it's important to close out, the festivities with another win, because the momentum is really what's important. Let's not forget that the teams in front of us kind of understand that, once we have that momentum, it also is a bit of a psychological blow to them. And, it makes a big difference in terms of the cohesive, nature of squad. And players then start sacrificing themselves for each other, for the team. So bringing home the results is so important at this stage of the season, when the team is still finding their physical shape and rhythm and form.
Yeah. So if we do end up winning this one, we are right now, we are 4 points behind, or AC Milan is 4 points ahead of us, and they will be facing Lazio side on Wednesday. We are facing Fiorentina tomorrow, and AC Milan are going to face Lazio. So that's not an easy game. If they do then win this one, that's another impressive result from them, but we'll still be 4 points behind. If they do lose, and be only 1 point behind. So then it's all really all up in the air. We mustn't forget Inter Milan, who will also play against Verona away on Wednesday. We mentioned Champions League briefly, DJ. Champions League, yes. First of all, how surprised were you that we topped the group?
If you remember when we spoke, I did expect us to put both games past Barca. I didn't expect us to win emphatically.
I was very surprised that you called it that way.
No, it's it's really you start to understand the mental makeup of the team and everything that happened with Messi in the close season. Yeah, you just knew that they're gonna have that kind of iffy season. I just feel like the reason we lost at home was a lot of it was just down to Pirlo and the team showing Barca a little bit more respect than they probably deserved. It was not so much about the personnel. And that's something that was completely reversed. If you saw when we went out of the new camp, it wasn't really feeding off the fact that Barca were any kind of form. It was just Juve just being Juve and more confident of who they are on the pitch, and that was very easy to see. An early goal always changes the dynamic of your mental makeup, and I was really happy to see that they seized the initiative, and there was no sense of apology of trying to defend the lead and just going home with respect and saying we won in the new camp. It was an all-out gung-ho attitude saying let's just win the group, because we can, and it was great to watch. I don't buy the narrative that Barca is struggling, etc. I think it is what it is. It's a game of football, and there was talk of Barca missing players, but yeah, we were missing players in Torino as well. So really, this happens in football, so there's no real excuse. I think you don't want to take away anything from that result. Kudos to Juve. and we brought home the 3 points. We brought home the group win, and it's played out really nicely now because we're playing Porto instead of PSG. So
Yeah, that's true.
it's a good thing. It's a good thing, and every knockout stage that we win, the team is growing in mentality, and I think Pirlo will feed off that very positively because he's a very confident person by nature, and I feel like that confidence will transmit with every passing result.
The thing is with that game away to Barca, that was probably the first time I saw our side this season play to our strengths and knowing what to do against a good, very, very good side. Remember, Barcelona, our Messi was unplayable that evening, by the way. He was great.
Right, right,
What we did though is nullify everything around him. And
correct,
how we played in defense was just if you want to learn how to defend, if you want to know the how to defend during the football match, just watch that game, because how we was set up, the instructions, the positioning, all was so spot on. And
absolutely,
if you do something different, if you go out attacking against Barca, then you're exposing yourself defensively, which is
correct,
quite a dangerous task and quite a dangerous thing to do because Barca will come knocking eventually.
correct.
So that was such as you say perfectly well, DJ. It doesn't matter who they missed and who we missed in our first
Correct.
team. It's all about how you approach that game. And to be fair,
Absolutely.
they were better than us uh, in terms of creating chances. But what we did was even better. Was that nullifying the final touch, the final third, basically. We were so
Correct.
good at that during
Correct.
that game, and of course, we were clinical. We were clinical
Correct.
once the ball came in to their positions half, and we. I'm never gonna forget that goal from Weston McKennie. The run,
Beautiful.
the touch,
Beautiful.
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 Yes.
Yeah.
So it kind of shows to me that the players trust what Pirlo is saying, trust to whatever he is cooking in the midfield with McKennie, with Cuadrado becoming on the right. Even though I think that he's very inconsistent in terms of defensively at least, but offensively he provides assists. So there we go. And also, we got to say that continuity is a vital issue here. It doesn't help us winning 3-0 against Barcelona, and then we end up underestimating Porto in the knockout stages, which would be
Absolutely.
which would be a bad thing to do. And to remind you, Porto only considered in their first game in Champions League group stages. Then they just played clean sheets every single game since then. So we'll see. But do you think we're going to go through against Porto?
Roman, if we're able to, maintain some kind of rhythm and form that we've seen, in patches for the first, the first few games of this season, and maybe the last 3 or 4 games that we've seen, building up to the close of this month, I do think that we have that, swagger about them. And like I said, it's really important for us to not forget that, Pirlo is going to come without any emotional baggage. So he's not rolling the dice; he's going all in, and that makes a big difference in Europe. I expect Porto to really be on the back foot in terms of going with a defense first attitude, and I expect Juve to go more guns blazing. Typically, when that happens, if you've got players like Morata and Ronaldo on song, you would expect, to bring home, a vital away result, which should, culminate in seeing it through at home.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see what happens. And as I
Right.
said, we do not underestimate them, but we respect them, but we do not fear them because we fear
Absolutely.
nobody.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes, that is true. Back, we have to score away goals, so Lyon doesn't happen again. Yes, that is also. But I think somehow this season is a bit different. To Lyon game last season, it was basically Cristiano was the only one who was switched on that game. Everyone
Correct.
else was very, very poor. However, this time it looks like the whole team is pumped up and interested in playing in the Champions League. So yeah, it'll be interesting. A question from Yash: what do you think if Napoli win the argument in the higher court? It's still not done, by the way, DJ. It's crazy. It's many months, but it's still appeals and all that. It's typical Italian government system, but it is what it is. We are a 3-0 win as per now, but there are appeals in court, and if it is to be decided that the game is to be played, will it be fair?
No, I'm 100% with where the result stands at the moment. Napoli deserve to have been deducted points and have lost that game. 3-love or whatever the rule is, because as far as I'm concerned, the rule is the same for everybody. It's true for Juve, it's true for Milan, it's true for Napoli, it's true for Inter. So I don't see why there has to be, a roundabout here where I personally don't expect the court to rule any differently than what has already been ruled. Because what it really does is it opens up a Pandora's box, because the next time this happens, you're going to have a multitude of teams just appealing and saying, why are we doing this? And Napoli get away with it. So the rule is the same for everybody. It absolutely should not be overturned. I don't just say this as a Juve fan, because tomorrow this may happen to Juve, and I don't expect Juve to try and avoid, going anything.
Well,
as
we
long as
had
they
actually issue with this during the Verona game. I think we had
correct,
2 or 3 players out with the COVID,
correct,
so
correct.
it kind of puts everything into up in the air. Should we replay the whole season then? I mean, it doesn't make any
Correct.
sense, as you say.
Yeah, it's never ending. Let's not forget we've got a really tight season, because you have Euro 2020 being pushed to Euro 21. So at this rate, nothing is going to conclude. So it's really important that the higher court upholds the result, and we just keep moving. There's no point crying over spilt milk for as far as Napoli is concerned. They just have to get on with it.
Yeah, I do agree. I do agree. We well, if it stays like it is with 3-0 win, and we move forward, then as I said, we are 4 points behind Milan. So we'll see what happens, because we are facing them rather early in January already, which looks like to be the game without Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Which is, I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing for us. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah, but first off, it's Fiorentina tomorrow. Your guess is 2-1.
2-love is what I'd go with optimally, but
2-0. Okay, yeah.
2-0, and if there is a slip up, maybe 2-1.
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna go with. Yeah, I'm gonna go with 2-0 as well. Yeah, let's be cautious.
Yeah.
And also a clean
Conservative.
sheet is a welcoming. Yes. Let's be also kind of nice to Wojciech Szczesny, because what he has been struggling doing so far is keeping a clean sheet. So if he ends up having a clean sheet tomorrow, it will be great for his confidence as well, which is
Correct.
also a good thing. Yes. All right. So before we end up this stream, DJ, Diego Maradona left us way too early, and it is sad. It is ruthless how the world is, but we have to remember, because since we last talked to you, he was still among us, but now he isn't. How briefly talk about Diego Maradona and his impact on culture and the football world in general. Were you around when Diego Maradona was playing for Napoli?
Well, I was born in 1981, so obviously
we
did
go.
not. I did see Maradona at the height of his powers with his national team, and like many of us of this generation, a lot of us really, turned to the game because of this really, this very unique figure, enigmatic figure that Maradona was. He had a somewhat of a, polarizing effect in some spaces, but Maradona was Maradona, and there was a greatness about him, about his persona. As controversial as it may be in some quarters, he is in many ways the reason why I personally started watching football, because it was the uniqueness of the man, and of course, it was a troubled life and career, in the later years, but it doesn't take away from the greatness and the legacy that he leaves behind. It was a huge loss, for anyone who loves the game. You've got to love Maradona. There's no two ways about it. Pele is somebody that we hear a lot about, but most of our generation really did not connect with Pele as much as we did with Maradona.
Yes.
So
True.
yeah, the greatness is undisputed. The controversy is what probably kept him alive in our minds, even when he was at the he wasn't as relevant in present day, modern day football and culture. You still did hear of him, because there was always one incident or the other, and I think he's had a very diverse career path, and a lot of that is not down to how good he was tactically as coach. It was just down to how great he was as a player, and he really has done it all, and huge loss. So wherever he is, I'm sure he's playing a good game, playing a fair game, and
Yeah.
more power to Maradona, because we're all pretty certain there's never going to be another Diego Maradona.
And we also have to remember Paulo Rossi as well,
Yes,
which
absolutely,
is
absolutely,
more of one of our own, so to speak.
correct, correct,
The hero, the hero from the World Cup in '82.
absolutely,
It's
absolutely,
too soon, unfortunately. So yeah, there it is.
absolutely.
But let's go for the one question more. We have a last question, and then I have a question for you, which is quite simple enough. But is the treble possible for us this season, DJ? And if not, will we do the Champions League?
Well, where honestly, the treble is possible every season. It really comes down to there are a lot of variables, for the treble to work out. Depth is one of them. Key players staying injury now, also COVID free. The Champions League really is about. There is a lot of luck at play. For the first couple of knockout rounds, you've got to have a favorable draw. It comes down to where you are in your league table, how much breathing room you have with the teams behind you, how much rest your key players are getting. So with a team like Juve, you've always got important objectives every season. And the kind of team that we have now is a very young team. I'm not personally sure that we will win the treble, but I do think that the Champions League is, even though it's a young team, I wouldn't be surprised if we won it. Are we favorites? Absolutely not. But is it possible? I would say most definitely. Again, I cannot repeat this enough. I think a lot of that is down to the fact that Pirlo has never coached before, and
Yep.
he's won it as a player, so he's never going to transmit any kind of nervousness, to the team. He's always going to make them play on the front foot. And typically, when you do that in Europe, yeah, it's always more favorable than it is not.
Yeah,
And
that's
if,
true.
if you have Ronaldo spearheading you, that just spearheads your chances.
The thing is with Champions League is that it's a very, very interesting competition where you, as opposed to Serie A, because in Serie A you play way more tactical than you do in Champions League. Because Champions League,
Correct,
if you don't get the points, you are out. If you don't get the win, you
correct,
are out. That's just as simple.
correct,
But with
correct,
the league format, is you have 38 games. So if you screw up one game, that's okay because you can win the other 37, for example. So
absolutely.
it's totally different than the tactics and the rotations and so on. So I'd say it's possible, as you say as well, but I think one has to give in order for us to get the two others. And maybe
Absolutely.
Copa. I'd give away the Copa, even though I love the badge. Once we get the
Yeah,
Copa,
yeah,
I just adore this little round badge.
yeah,
But
yeah.
if something else give in for us to win the Champions League, that's fine. That is
Absolutely.
totally okay. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And the last question for you, from me, who is the Scudetto winner, Serie A 2020, 2021?
Very tough one, Roman. Very, very tough one. You asked me this uh, maybe last season. I would have also, I wasn't really sure of, Juve under Sarri. Um, I am confident of Pirlo, but there are too many moving parts. I think it's early days to predict. No team is really giving us a sign in terms of where they are. Milan have been playing some good football from the end of last season through to now. Um, it's really their depth situation and dependency on Zlatan. Let's see how that holds up. Inter being Inter, I'm not so sure what the Conte situation is going to be. The minute they hit a little bit of a mini crisis, I'm not sure how he's going to hold up. Though they are at the moment, they are somewhat beginning to settle into some kind of rhythm. Juve for me too are I would this year. I know it's the Decima year, and all of us want it, no doubt
Don't
about
say
it.
it. Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it.
No doubt about it. But to me, I think Juve, I would peg as a dark horse this season.
Okay.
It's, I feel like, we were 2 years late in terms of rejigging the squad a little bit, and that happened better late than never. It happened this season. So, we just have to be aware that this had to happen, for us to move forward. No regrets. They are dark horses. I can't give you a name, but if it wasn't Juve, I'd love it to be Atlanta.
Wow. Wow. And if you were to give me a name, who would that be? I
I
need the
can't
name.
not I can't not give you a name. I can't give you a name other than Juve. So I would,
Okay.
9-time champion. They understand the run in. If it's an unpredictable season, I would say Juve have the edge because the players are, they're seasoned enough, at least the old guard. But again, Conte is now, into his second or third season at Inter. So there is that little bit of continuity. Pioli is kind of hit his stride. Milan, for me, they're playing good football, but it's a depth situation. I think Inter are a bigger threat than Milan.
Hmm.
Probably, I see it as a two horse race to the end,
Yeah.
probably between Juve and Inter. And
I,
yeah,
I gotta let me help you out in saying that you said so yourself actually earlier today that we have 5 subs. We have to remember that. So anything can happen with 5 subs, and we have depth. Well, maybe not up front, which we may address in January. So we have been improving as well as. Yes, Buck bag. Let me highlight this one. Pirlo had that promise, but now I feel like kind of optimistic, and so do we. I think that so do we because we see that there is improvement. There is improvement and onwards and upwards, as they say. So yes, they might win the Scudetto, but it also can also be one of those 2 or even 3, maybe even 4, because I feel that even though Napoli is a bit inconsistent, but I feel they are looking more solid. Also, once this Victor Osimhen comes back, we'll see what happens then. So yeah, it's a really exciting season. Actually, we have a lot of teams who are competing for that top spot. We have Milan, Inter, Juve, Roma also are solid, even though they were destroyed by Atalanta. Not that long ago. I think it was yesterday, actually. And then we have Napoli, Sassuolo, and Lazio, and everything in space of just 10 points. So from first until the 8th position, it's only 10
10
points.
points.
So
Right.
it's very tight, and it's very, very exciting so far. So that's it. I don't think we have time for anything else, but thank you so much for joining, to all of you guys. For all your questions, for all your comments. I've been reading through all of them, and it's exciting. I keep seeing the same names all over again, so it's always a pleasure to seeing your names every now and then. All eyes for our first trophy in January. Yes, that's true. Actually, we play Super Copa in January, so that also is is an important game for us. DJ, Merry Christmas and
Merry
Happy New
Christmas,
Year
Roman.
once that arrives, and we will see what happens. We will for sure do this one or maybe even 2 times before we are crowned champions this season. So we shall see. Guys, say hello to DJ, and unfortunately he's not the world's best on social media, so he doesn't have the Twitter account, and but
No.
it is totally fine. So if he had, I would told you guys follow the guy and follow his quality content, because I'm sure it is if you were unleashing it. So
Thank you so much. Thank you for your kind
you're
words.
very, very welcome. We will see you next time, of course, and tomorrow,
Certainly.
Juventus against Fiorentina. You will see me also on the full-time reactions after the game. Hopefully, it will be a lovely game of football with great performance, because we need that just before the end of the 2020. All right, fino alla fine, and forza Juve.